Hello, this is a video about EmbedVM. EmbedVM is a virtual machine and a compiler for a C-like programming language that can generate code for the virtual machine. EmbedVM is very small. It is so small that you can use it on a microcontroller. I have developed EmbedVM as part of the MetaLab project for the Hackerspace Challenge 2011. If you'd like to know more about this project or the Hackerspace Challenge, I will add links to the sites and to the description of this video. On this first project, we used EmbedVM on an AVR Atmega microcontroller. This microcontroller is very similar to the one you will find on Arduino board. On this kind of microcontroller, EmbedVM needs about 3 kilobytes of program memory and executes code with 74 kilo instructions per second. So let's have a quick look at EmbedVM, how you can use it in your own project and how the virtual machine works. I'm using Subversion to manage the EmbedVM sources. We have the link to the Subversion here, so the repository is world readable, so if you would like to check it out, you can just use this link. So when you check it out, this is what you get. Some documentation files, general purpose documentation file, and the detailed documentation of the virtual machine bytecode format. The list of to-dos, actually that's just documentation at the moment. Some example projects, some test cases for the compiler and the virtual machine itself. The tools directory contains the compiler, that's the only tool at the moment, and the VM source directory contains the actual VM source. So that's the stuff that will run on the microcontroller. Everything else is just for the PC and the environment you're using to develop. So let's first have a look at the virtual machine itself. The virtual machine is only two C file, actually one C file and one C header file. As you can see, it's pretty small. It's a little bit more than 300 lines of C code. And the API is also rather slim. So there is an EmbedVM_s struct, and every virtual machine instance in your application needs one of the structs. So this struct has a few integer variables in it. That's the instruction pointer, the stack pointer, and the stack frame pointer. That's basically the whole virtual machine state. Then there is a user context pointer. EmbedVM does nothing with this pointer. It's just passed through to the callback functions. So if you want to manage your own context or whatever, you can use this function to do that. And then there are 3 function pointers. The first function pointer is used whenever the virtual machine tries to read memory. The second one whenever the virtual machine tries to write memory. And the third one is a generic callback function for so-called user functions. So the memory for the virtual machine itself is not just a linear memory region. It can be implemented as anything. You can have memory on external SD cards or whatever you'd like. You even can implement your virtual memory mapped hardware, because whenever the virtual machine tries to read or write its virtual machine memory, it's using these 2 callback functions. So then there are 2 more functions that are interesting for the user of the virtual machine. The first one is EmbedVM exec. This function gets the pointer to the EmbedVM_s struct as argument and executes exactly one virtual machine instruction. So when you're using EmbedVM in one of your applications, you basically have a main loop somewhere, and in this main loop you'd call this EmbedVM exec function again and again and again. The second one function is EmbedVM interrupt. This one can be used for basically creating an interrupt inside of the virtual machine. The address argument is just the address of the function inside of the virtual machine memory, and then this function is called, and when it's finished, the normal flow of program execution is continued. This interrupt function can also be used for calling normal functions. So usually when you have an application using EmbedVM, you'd initialize the virtual machine to some kind of idle state, and then use this EmbedVM interrupt function to call your actual main function. The other four functions here are usually not used from the application, but you can use it to do some more tricky things with the embedding with the virtual machine. I'm afraid this was a little abstract. So let's have a look at the practical example. I have an Arduino here, and I hooked up a speaker to it. So I wrote a little example program that contains EmbedVM and provides a user function to the virtual machine that can be used to play tones. So yeah, let's have a look at the code first.